Aries, hi, welcome. It's Erin Scott here with the Alchemy of Holism. Welcome to your month ahead. We're tapping into the Gemini new moon cycle, mid-June to mid-July. Natural cycle, we're tapping into the natural arc of your evolutionary growth as an embodiment of the Aries archetype. So let's tap in, okay? Now, let me first identify you. Now, I have my gouache paints here, okay? And you're my last reading, actually. I started with Gemini, and I've kind of gone around, and I pulled Taurus in there at some point. So this month, you're usually the first one. This particular month, you're the last one on the list, but just as valuable. So we're tapping into this dynamic time frame, which it very much is, and you're feeling it. Because you're ruled by Mars. Mars to now conjunct the South Node in Aquarius, squaring Uranus. Huge, huge, okay? Lots and lots and lots of energy. And a lot of it it has to do with our identity, how empowered we feel or don't, how we identify with our own power. Also past aggressions, meaning past collective narratives of trauma in the collective and how we're holding that in this particular life stream for growth and evolution, right? So this is a generalized arc of growth. What is activating a catalyzation of your maturity over this time frame? Each of you are specific and you're going to have specific narratives playing out, but a generalized growth is unfolding. It does correlate with the decons in your chart. You know, whether you're born in the first 10 degrees, second 10 degrees, third 10 degrees. However, that being said, there are generalized activations that are happening, okay? So, Aries, where do we want to start with you? That doesn't want to come off. I'm going to leave it there. There's like a little bit of hair there. Doesn't want to come out. So maybe there's a little gook there that wants to stay. So what I'm doing, if you're new to this, is I'm just pulling through images, forms, symbols, sometimes numbers, certainly spatial relationships, and the layered unfolding of the imagery. So whatever comes through, it's telling a story, all right? Life is story. Living systems are story. Okay. I definitely am getting a message just with this image, but let me see what else is coming through for you though. Aries, you might hear some music in the background. There's my neighbor outside with his radio on. I don't know if you can see that. That's kind of a brown. Interesting. I'm definitely getting a couple things here, but I don't know if I'm done yet though. Okay, Aries, let's take a look at this. I don't know. There might be something else that wants to come through, but it feels complete, although I don't know the full assessment yet. Let me tell you what I am getting. The first thing that came through was the red, and it was a red kind of coming up, down, and out, okay? And what I get from that imagery, first of all, it's red. So we're talking energy, frustration, aggression, anger. And it could be something that you're passionate about as well, but I have to tell you that's not what I'm getting. What I'm getting is that previous what is happening for you over the course of this month is that you're taking things that have frustrated or agitated you, and there's a recalibration happening this month. You're taking it into yourself. You're marinating on it. You're contemplating and reflecting it. You're taking it into your system and you're working it. You're thinking about things, and it's coming out with a new energy. Now, could it be that this aggravation is not transmutating into something else? I don't think so. First of all, I know that because whenever you do any internal process of reflection, it will be some sort of different outcome. It might be a similar pattern, but it's not going to be the same. It could be even the same pattern, but it's not the same. It's always a different iteration, but that's not what I'm getting. Keep in mind, remember when I was painting this and there was like this piece of hair that was stuck in here? I couldn't get it out and it wanted to stay. What I'm getting is that things that felt hairy or tangled or yucky or muddy in the past, aggravating issues, you're thinking about it, you're working it, internalizing it, for your processing it, for your understanding and comprehension. And there's new energy coming out. The other thing that I'm getting, and we'll talk about all of the rest of it too, do you see this green at the top? To me, this feels like a pineapple top. And if you look at this, maybe this is a pineapple with the top. Now, I have zero idea what the symbology of pineapple is. However, I do have a few books with me here. And I actually want to take a look. I don't know if this is my Betty Bethard's dream book, okay? I have no idea if she'll have pineapple in here. By the way, I've had this since God was a baby. I've had this forever. She doesn't have pineapple in here. It's certainly fruit, though. It's fruit. It's fruit. Okay, beauty. So this is what fruit represents, all right? Reaping what you have sown, a job well done, productive outcomes resulting from facing and moving through problems. Fruit of your labor. Lots of chills, okay? You are progressing. You are maturing, and specifically you're maturing your unconscious drivers that are based on wounds, creating aggressiveness, anxiety, agitation, aggressive, even rage. I mean, we're talking on the collective stage, lots of rage coming up and out. For good reason, it's valid. But it's buried, it's all buried within the collective human psyche. It's not that the outside is not directly reflecting the inside. It is, always. It's never any different. For you specifically, you're working some stuff. You're actually doing some reflection and processing your own anger, your own rage, that which maybe has been suppressed or maybe not so much. Maybe there's been a lot of explosive energy or explosive circumstances in your life, again, directly always reflecting your internal narrative. And you've had stuff to become aware of within yourself, and you are. And the fruit of your labor is the pineapple. Now, pineapples for me evoke Hawaii. Not that they don't exist multiple other places, but for me, it evokes the image of Hawaii. Right now, Pele is activated there with the Kilauea volcano situation. And certainly the red can talk about eruptive emotions, eruptive behavior, reactionary, non-mindful, a default reactionary set that's based on a wounding that's encoded within you for your growth and evolution. But I do see this Pele energy here, okay? Pineapple, Hawaii, the currently erupting volcano. Indeed, you're doing some work. Now, there's a couple things here. One, the second thing that came through was like a setting sun. Now, do you notice that the setting sun does not have a horizon line? It's floating out here. It's floating. It's not connected to a horizon line. It's not connected to an ocean horizon line, to a land horizon line. It's just floating. And I have to tell you, that setting sun for me, which really felt like a setting sun as I was painting it, to me, in your psyche, this is up floating, this is in your consciousness out here, right? It's in your field. In your psyche, there's a setting sun on a chapter. Mid-June to mid-July 2018, as we have, by the way, we're referring to the Gemini new moon cycle, right? It is a reboot. The symbology imbued with that particular moon spoke about it as well. It is about a mental reboot. And I do feel that there's a setting sun in your psyche, in your unconscious, about some sort of an issue with anger, rage, or unconscious reactionary behavior that you're reaping the fruits of the new evolution of self. That's what I get, okay? Now, there's also this thing here, which is like this bisecting line and kind of a brown, which is material, it's soil, it's like earthly reality. It's like material reality. And material reality, so some physical issue or confrontation, circumstance, relationship dynamic, some physical issue bisected, let's say, existing anger for you or an existing pattern of behavior or reaction. It bisected it, okay? And do you see it's bisecting this internalized reflection, contemplation process that you're also going through here? Do you see that? So something happened in your external world and you're contemplating it. You're contemplating it. As you're going within for your process, you're contemplating it. There's also this big X here. Now, first of all, the bottom half of this internal processing of you is filled with this soil, which might feel like waste product for some of you. It might feel like heaviness for you. So part of your internalized process that's doing this, right, up and out, part of this process over the course of mid-June to mid-July You might feel weight. You might feel weightiness of life can be challenging or difficult, or it's always the same pattern, you know, whatever's happening there. But you could feel some weight about it. You could also feel some negativity about it, okay, because of this big black X. So it could feel like negativity for some of you. And for some of you, you're getting clear what you're not going to put up with anymore and what you're going to create boundaries around, right? Does that make sense? There's all this aggravation here. Do you see the black line and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squiggly lines? So it's like activity coming in, coming in, coming in. You're creating boundaries with people. This is what I get. This is activity. This is people. This is work, making phone calls to you or your neighbors or your family or your children, whatever it is. There's a lot of people wanting to get your attention this month as you go through this internal contemplation process. And guess what? You're creating boundary. That's what that is. It's boundary. You're creating a boundary about distraction, about other people's energy input. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, Aries. You are going through a process of discernment, clarity of self, owning of your story, hopefully. By the way, for those who want to learn about the breadth of my work with clients worldwide, in regards to soul print identification, getting clear on the wound default narratives that are driving you, getting clear on your mastery trajectory that's encoded. It's just part of your natural encoding for this particular life stream. Be in touch. You can go to the alchemyofholism.com. For those of you interested in weekly live streams, connecting with me on weekly live streams, you can go to my Patreon page, which I'm using as a membership portal. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to pull from my beautiful Siri deck here, 144 cards, 6-year-old anniversary. It's now 6 years old. Last month, May. I am going to pull a guidance for you for this month ahead. What's a good prime area of your focus for Aries? Wow. Couldn't be more perfect. Habit and pattern. Do you see that? Habit and pattern. Your growth edge is to become aware of your patterns. We all have patterns, right? This is about, are you coming out the other side with this new orientation of self that's grown, or are you falling back into a pattern where you're unconsciously driven by your wounding and not mindfully taking the reins of your own maturation process, which, by the way, takes maturity, because it's going to take self-discipline. So you're going to have to deal with this, Aries. I think a lot of you are going to go into a reflective mode and come out more mature. But for others of you, you're actually going to ruminate and marinate and create boundaries and cut people out while you work your process, but you're going to come out not any wiser. So this is about becoming, your growth edge is to become aware of your patterns of being. Now, your patterns of being are yours. Nobody's doing it to you. They're your patterns, and they're for you to understand so that you can grow them. It takes accountability and it takes responsibility to own our own story, to own our own perspective filter, our own bubble of understanding reality, so that we can grow it, up-level it, evolve it, expand it. That's why we're here. Nature expands by its nature. Humans are part of nature. Where we get stuck is the egos, the modern humans, idolization of ego function in its identification process. And we've made it the master of our mind when really it needs to be relegated to its proper role, its natural role, you know? So it's a matter of becoming really clear. Who is the master here? The unconscious wounding or you? It's time to choose. It's time to evolve. And evolving takes discipline and responsibility and accountability. So essentially, it's time for all of us to grow up. And it's time for all of us to take a look at our patterns. For Aries in particular this month, that's the activation. That's the growth. understand your patterns, because the patterns are not random. The patterns are driven by a particular soul print encoding narrative that has a certain wound set flavor that is encoded for its evolution. What is your wound set? Are you really clear on it? And are you clear about the nuances of it and how it's connected to other aspects of your life and specifically pointing you toward your mastery trajectory? For those of you that want clarity, you can go to thealchemyofholism.com. Okay. Sending you all much love until next month. Okay. Bye-bye.